Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we turn our attention to a fierce war of words brewing in the heart of South African politics. Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla, the outspoken daughter of former President Jacob Zuma, has taken a sledgehammer to President Cyril Ramaphosa's credibility, branding him an embarrassment after his recent diplomatic trip to the United States. Now, Ramaphosa's visit to the US was supposed to be a display of statesmanship and strategic diplomacy. He met with political leaders, business stakeholders, and international think tanks. The goal? To strengthen economic ties, promote South Africa's global standing, and attract investment in a climate of uncertainty. But somewhere along the way, the message got lost, or at least, it did not land well back home. During one of his engagements, Ramaphosa made what was likely an attempt at humility. He acknowledged the complexity of leadership and even suggested that he was still learning. For some international observers, this may have come across as refreshing honesty. But back home, the reception was ice cold. Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla took to social media, where she accused the president of essentially admitting that he doesn't know how to do his job. In her words, quote, "This clown went to America to basically say that he doesn't know how to be president." That statement has since gone viral, igniting passionate debate across South Africa's political spectrum. In another post, she doubled down, saying, "South Africa deserves a leader, not someone who seeks validation overseas while the country struggles." That, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't just a criticism, it was a body blow aimed directly at Ramaphosa's legitimacy as a leader during one of the most turbulent periods in our country's democratic history. To understand why this clash is significant, we need to unpack the deeper layers. This isn't just about one woman expressing personal disdain. Duduzile's remarks reflect the deep and growing factional rift within the ANC itself, the ruling party that once stood united behind Nelson Mandela's vision but is now increasingly split between the camps of Zuma loyalists and Ramaphosa reformists. The Zuma faction has long criticized Ramaphosa's leadership, accusing him of selling out, of being more concerned with global approval than local accountability. This view has found fertile ground among South Africans who feel disillusioned with the pace of economic reform, the handling of state capture fallout, and the persistent inequalities that plague our society. Ramaphosa's critics argue that while he's engaging with global investors and rubbing shoulders with Western powers, the nation he leads continues to suffer from load shedding, mass unemployment, crumbling infrastructure, and rampant crime. And here lies the tension: how does one balance the demands of global diplomacy with the urgent needs of domestic recovery? Political analyst Busi Malanga weighed in on the issue, warning South Africans not to see Duduzile's comments in isolation. According to her, these remarks are part of a calculated political campaign, a narrative designed to undermine Ramaphosa's moral authority in the lead up to the 2026 local elections and beyond. It's all part of the broader war of perception. Malanga notes, Duduzile Zuma's criticisms should be viewed in the context of the ongoing factional battles within the ANC. They resonate with a base that feels increasingly alienated by Ramaphosa's leadership style. In other words, for every South African who saw humility in Ramaphosa's words, there's another who saw weakness. What makes this moment particularly explosive is that Duduzile is not an ordinary political commentator. She is the daughter of Jacob Zuma, a man whose legacy continues to cast a long shadow over South African politics. Zuma's base remains fiercely loyal, especially in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng. His daughter's voice, then, carries far more weight than a typical critic. So where does this leave President Ramaphosa? As of now, the presidency has remained tight-lipped about Duduzile's attacks. Ramaphosa himself has stayed focused on the mission of economic diplomacy, engaging with US stakeholders and assuring investors that South Africa remains open for business. But the damage, at least in the court of public opinion, may already be done. And let's not forget the broader consequences. These internal ANC tensions play out not only in headlines but in policy paralysis, cabinet reshuffles, and erratic governance. Every attack, every public rift, chips away at the ANC's cohesion, and by extension, South Africa's political stability. We must ask, is Ramaphosa's leadership style, measured, consensus-driven, internationally minded, what South Africa needs in this hour of crisis? Or does the nation require a more assertive, populist figure who speaks plainly, rallies the base, and refuses to be seen as deferential on the world stage? Let's also not ignore the media landscape. Duduzile's words trended on social media within hours, amplified by accounts sympathetic to the RET radical economic transformation agenda. These platforms have become battlegrounds for political legitimacy, where hashtags matter as much as parliamentary votes. For South Africans watching from the sidelines, the optics are unsettling. On one hand, a president who seeks to engage the world, stabilize the economy, and attract investment. On the other, a daughter of a former president accusing him of being an international embarrassment. So, who's right? That's the question for you, our viewers. Do you believe Ramaphosa's visit to the US and his statements there showcased diplomacy and statesmanship, or did it reveal a man out of touch with the urgency of South Africa's crisis? And does Duduzile Zuma-Sambudla speak for a disillusioned majority, or just a vocal faction seeking a return to power? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, we want to hear from you. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. South Africa's political landscape is shifting faster than ever, and we'll be right here to break it all down with clarity, context, and courage. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.